Okay, so in this video, I just want to show on how you can interact with an external API using JavaScript. So right here I have VS Code. So I'm using VS Code as my text editor. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to create a folder called API. Then inside that folder, I'll just create a file called index.js because I'm using JavaScript. Okay, and the other thing that you need to have is that you need to have Node installed. So if you don't have Node installed, just go to their homepage. Yeah, so you can just go to their homepage, Node.js. You can just go on Google, you just search for Node.js. Okay, so you just click on the first link that appears, which is this one, nodejs.org. Okay, that's where you can download the Node package. So Node is just helping us. It's a runtime environment for JavaScript. So it's just helping us run JavaScript on our machine. Okay. So we're talking about API, right? So we're going to use one API. Okay. So one API that we can use is a fake API. So there is an API called fake APIs that just helps you generate like placeholders, like you can use in your projects. So for example, down here when you go on their documentation, they have things like posts, comments, albums, and things like that. So for example, when we go on posts, we're able to get like 100 posts. So these are placeholders. So that's what we're going to use. So to get the URL or the endpoint, you're just going to click there and we get this endpoint. Okay. So get that endpoint, we go to our VS Code, and here we just create a variable. So call it URL so like that, then we just store it in that variable as a string. Okay, so this is our URL or our endpoint, and we're going to get the information from there. Okay, so there are two ways that you can do it in JavaScript in terms of how you want to fetch information, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create post function. Just call it fetch post equal to that. Okay, so this is basically our function that we're going to use. Yeah, then so the first thing that we're going to use is we're going to declare this function as an async function. Of course, if we use the fetch API for JavaScript, it will return a promise. So we should declare our function as async. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called response, and it will await for data that we are fetching, right? So I'm using the fetch API to get information from that URL. So this URL retains a promise. That's why we are waiting for the information. Okay. Yeah. Then the other thing is the information that we're going to receive. We want to convert it into JSON. So the data or the posts that we are receiving, okay, we await them. Then we convert them. So from the response, you convert the data to JSON, like that. Okay. Then from there, we just console so that we look at what we are getting back. Okay. So you just do that like that. Okay. So we are done. This is the first, can say, method or way of doing it. Okay. So the other thing that we're going to do is just call the function so that we're able to get back our posts from that API. So you save the work. After saving, then we go inside that file or folder rather. Okay, so inside the folder, okay, let's clear the console. Okay, then remember I said you need Node, so you call Node then index.js so that we can run the file, right? So let's see what we're getting back. Okay, so if you have a faster internet, of course, the fetch will be very fast and you'll be able to see your information. Okay, connect them out. That's the a very slow internet. Let's try that again. Let's just clear this. Yeah, so you need internet for this. Okay, now we're getting something back. So this is the data that we're getting. We can now display this information in the front end, if you're working with an API that has got images and things like that, you can display them in the front end on your website. Okay, then we said there's another way, right? So let's look at the second method now, how you do it. Okay. Okay, so the other one is instead of awaiting like this, you can just use the dot then promise. Okay, so we're going to remove all this like that. Yeah, can even remove this. Okay, so the moment we fetch, we use the dot then we get a response. Okay, then we write our callback function like that. Okay, response. Okay, response like that. We have the callback function. What does the callback function do? It returns that response. Then we convert the response to JSON like that. Then from there we call another then we get the actual post. Then callback that does what? That does the printing for us. Okay, so we get to now print the post like that. Okay, then we can move this guy. Okay, let's try it like that. Okay, so if we clear the console, okay, clear the console, then we try it again, we need to get back the same results. Okay, let's make it bit. Okay, so we're getting back the same information there. So that's how you can interact with an API using JavaScript.